Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today, it's Saturday, and you know what that means. It means it's time to review last night's episode of SmackDown, and it was an absolutely crazy one from a story perspective. It's going to be a really, really fun show today. And first things first, let me introduce the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
Dude, I'm fired up to be here. I had a day off yesterday, so that was nice. But then we have SmackDown. We've got Sting's last match this weekend. How good is it to be a wrestling fan right now?
Absolutely.
Never a better time than this. Not only that, we got The Rock wearing versions of potentially the $500 shirt. I don't know. We haven't gotten a dollar amount just yet, but I'm sure we will get it soon. I'm excited to talk about all of it. It's been a huge weekend for wrestling. It's been a huge weekend for expensive shirts on The Rock. Let's talk about it, Ben.
Yeah, we got David Mard saying Silk Versace. That is bang on indeed. Also, we got Brad Lopez, 2030 in the comments over on Instagram saying, let's go, Cody Mania. Cody's clearly very over, as we heard last night. But somebody else who was very over last night was this man's favorite superstar, Tiffany Stratton. And this man is the Tuesday Night Delight himself. Throw up those twos. We have Shad. How are you, Shad?
Throw them twos up. I'm good. I went ahead and said my prayers. I ate my vitamins, and I acknowledged our tribal Tiff, the wrestler who is better than Okada, the wrestler who is better than Daniel Bryanson, Tiffany Stratton, man. Acknowledge your tribal Tiff. But I'm good, man. Nice to see y'all.
Nice to see you too. It's also nice to see Bobby Petito in the chat, who's saying that Julia from Stardom challenged New Japan Strong Women's. The new challenger for Julia's title is Stephanie Vaquer for Stardom show on March 10th. I'm excited for that. We've also got Soul. We got Soul saying that he's on his flight to Greensboro for AEW Revolution right now, and he's actually threatening Shad to fly all the way back because he's so annoyed at what you're saying there.
She's already better than everybody in that women's division that you like on All Empty Wrestling. So let's simmer down, Bucko. All right.
Nice.
Shots fired indeed. We also got Jason in the comments today. Happy Saturday to you, Jason, as well. And wrestling_Shane as well. But also joining us, we have a very, very special guest with us today, and that is Cameron from Wrestling Takes. How are you, Cameron?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing? I'm really appreciative for having me on here today, my first ever wrestling podcast. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. It's going to be a fun show, and I want to just jump into things head first. I want to talk about The Rock last night because, of course, SmackDown opened up with the Bloodline coming out, and The Rock kept them waiting. Roman Reigns didn't like how he was kept waiting, but eventually The Rock did show up, and The Rock not only said to Cody, hey, I reject your challenge, but he put a new challenge out there and said night one, a tag team match between Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. First things first, Clark, how wrong were you and how right was I?
Well, let me put it this way. I never said that I didn't believe it could happen. I said if it was me, I wouldn't do it because I still believe that the implied risk of losing either of your main event competitors for night two merely 24 hours before you have to equally fill the same stadium is a huge risk. And that's why I wouldn't do it. I didn't say it wouldn't happen. It's happening. We're here.
You and Anthony
So
acted
if you
like
want
the
the
ring was going
credit,
to burn down.
if you want the credit, that's totally fine. But if we get card subject to change night 2, I'm going to dance all over this, Ben. Let's be clear. You better hope this is the cleanest wrestled match you've ever seen in your lifetime, in your young life. Because any little tweak knee, any little thing that affects night 2, and guess who was right then? Now, am I excited?
You and Anthony acted like there was going to be a flood. Animals were going to be away.
This is just me. This is just
going to have to restart.
Anthony's not here. He's not here. And so anyway, the way I look at this is it's totally fine. And it's a great match. Does it completely overshadow every other great storyline that WWE's built along the way to this Mania? Is that what's been most annoying about The Rock returning to fans that have turned on The Rock for the first time in 2 decades? And that's great too. It's Philly. We'll get big boos for The Rock. It's going to be huge. And it's going to be a fun tag match. I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to see how night 2 goes as well. But I mean, it's not necessarily something that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's going to happen. It's a massive risk on your flagship WrestleMania 40 show. Right. It is a gigantic risk. That's all I'm saying. From a on paper booking standpoint, it's gorgeous. It's like everything you could ask for, right? You're looking at the 4 most famous people on the roster on the men's side for the WWE currently in the ring at the same time on night 1. That's hard to turn down. I'm not here to say like, oh, it's a bad tag match. Not in any way. It's great booking from that standpoint. At the same time, Cody tweaks a knee. Cody twists an ankle.
Oh, he's wrestling 3 times that week on live events anyway.
He could break his hand then too. I'm just saying it's a huge risk to have 2 main event matches that are going to include your poster, Cody and Roman. It's not just Cody. It's Roman too. It can happen to Roman as well. Card is always subject to change. And I'm just saying it is a huge, huge risk. Rollins will not be in the main event of night 2, though. Rollins will be
but him
in another match on night 2.
The only match which I'd be concerned about.
And that's fine.
He's injured.
I'm just saying it is a big risk. I'm excited about it. If I have to nitpick, I'm disappointed. I think Becky Lynch and Ripley should main event night 1. And I'm pretty confident that it will be this tag match. And that's just my opinion when it comes to that.
Yeah. I mean, we had a conversation, right? I had a conversation with David earlier today about this. And it's one of those things where it sucks for Becky and Rhea because they deserve it so much. But at the same time, The Rock main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania is going to bring more eyes to every other match on that card. So they're going to have more eyes watching them than if they actually main evented the show. But you are still right. It sucks that, they don't get to, do it. I mean, Coach 23 is also saying, the dude, Cody Rhodes, tore his pecs and he still wrestled in a Hell in a Cell match.
And so what does he do on Monday? What does he do on Monday if he finishes the story then? What do you do with the world
title? He's
title?
not finishing the story. I thought we were in agreement about
we are in agreement on that. I'm saying hypothetically.
He's failing. He can't. He gets bored halfway through the book.
I don't know about that.
Shad, what was your thoughts on this entire Bloodline-esque segment on Raw?
I mean, I'm going to solely talk about the segment itself. Obviously, there's a lot of debate on what the future direction is for, and obviously we got a clearer picture of what night 1 is going to be with that tag match. I always thought that was going to be in play, and I always thought that would be night 1 main event. I don't, I feel bad for other competitors, the women especially with, Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, but more importantly, Io Sky and Bayley, who have one of the most compelling storylines in pro wrestling at the moment that's been long-term booking into where it's at now. But the segment itself, I love the tidbits that Roman Reigns and The Rock had within the facial expressions. You can definitely see that Roman is getting frustrated and, getting jealous and self-conscious of the superstar that is his older cousin, Dwayne. And you saw that yesterday. You saw The Rock in his bag like normal, cutting the promo, making fun of the fans, this, that, and the third. Following up his 21-minute promo in his patio. He came back again yesterday with fire, and you can tell that it's irking Roman a little bit. And the moment where he was about to, hit the infamous line, him taking the mic out of his hand and telling him, "Acknowledge me." You can tell that Roman needs the
Iconic.
reassurance that I'm the head of the table. I'm the top dog. You're not taking that away from me. I think that's the beautiful wrinkle in this story that what we'll see unravel at Mania, and that's what overpowers everything that's going on at the moment, unfortunately, man. Like you got to go with what is the hot commodity, and if this is the hot commodity, you got to serve it to the fans. It's Mania, and like you said, it only benefits everybody else on the card because more eyes will be glued on this pay-per-view, from the fans like us to also casuals and fans coming back into it once they see The Rock listed on that pay-per-view.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. He is the draw. And we spoke yesterday, Shad, on this show for a long time about how AEW need to go with what's hot tomorrow night, and that's Swerve Strickland. They need to strap the belt on him and push him to the moon. Well, what's hot in WWE? This Bloodline storyline, and for that reason, I don't see Roman dropping the title at Mania. That's what I'm scared about, and I really am scared about it. But I'm sticking with my prediction on that. But like you said, last night, Roman Reigns, not Roman Reigns, The Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns, and that was a shocking revelation. Cameron, what did you think about this segment?
This is my first time ever seeing The Rock as a heel live, and I'm loving it so far, I can't lie. But I was so shocked when he actually acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. Like, I thought Dwayne wanted that role for himself, but one thing I would say is I do not see this lasting in the long term. I think The Rock is inevitably going to turn on Roman Reigns and try and take the mantle of tribal chief for himself. Like, two egos inflated crazily. Surely they both want that role of tribal chief. But yeah, a very entertaining segment in my opinion. I'm loving The Rock as a heel.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It's really, really fun. Roman Reigns, The Rock, like you said, there's two big egos in one place. And I think when it's going to explode is going to be night 2 at WrestleMania. I think The Rock and Roman are going to win the tag team match. Then at WrestleMania, I think The Rock is going to turn on WrestleMania night 2. I think The Rock is going to turn on Roman and help even the odds for Cody, so it becomes a one-on-one match anyway. But I don't think it's going to be enough, unfortunately. I do still think Roman's going to find a way to win. Cameron, do you think we could see a title change at Mania, or will the reign continue?
My money is on Cody Rhodes winning a title. I do not see a world in which he wins back-to-back Rumbles and never wins the belt. To me, there's no coming back from that for him. He obviously will win the belt somewhere down the line, but to me, he just sums him up as not being able to win the belt. If you win two Rumbles and then don't win the main events twice in a row, like, come on, you've literally told us twice you're going to do it. You're going to be a man of your word at some point. Like,
yeah.
And I was mentioning this earlier. I don't see any of the titles actually being retained at Mania, even from the tag belts to the female belts. I feel like it makes sense for all the titles to change hands. Personally,
no, I can see that point. For sure. And I absolutely do agree with you. If Cody loses back-to-back, it's going to make him look like an idiot. But unfortunately, I think they're doing it anyway. And it won't be clean. There'll be some excuse of some kind somewhere. But we have a few comments here, which I want to acknowledge. And Coach 23 is saying that when they indeed feud, The Rock could claim that you might be a tribal chief, but I'm the high chief, as that's what it said on their family tree in Vegas. That's a good point. That is a good point indeed.
Coach 23, you genius, you.
Coach 23 is seeing the future as we speak, but David Marge is saying when The Rock acknowledged, that's not the one. He said Roman lipped, hurry up, when The Rock was talking. That is certainly something. We've also got Sable Sudden 11 in the chat. Shout out to you. But now I want to get Clark back in here for a second, right? No, I don't want to get Clark. Actually, Clark, I don't want to see you here, right? Usually, I always
we
put
know
you
what
second,
time.
but it's a certain time. The clocks have changed. They've gone back an hour. They haven't, but they might as well have because it's Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton is, of course, on SmackDown, and the biggest Tiffany Stratton mark in the world is on our show. Tiffany Stratton acknowledges him, acknowledging her. I mean, you guys are like best friends at this point, Shad. But Tiffany defeated Naomi. The internet's crying. What's your thoughts?
The internet is crying, and I can definitely understand frustrations towards it. Naomi was the big return back at the Royal Rumble. Trinity did an incredible job leaving the WWE, doing singles work out on Impact TNA, and it was a big deal to have her back. But like we said earlier, the hot hand always wins. The
Yeah.
hottest hand where you can't even touch the pan. You know, when you were a kid and you saw you thought you were smart when you touched the metal stove or the electric stove,
I've
it
never
burns
done
you.
that. But...
Oh man, I've done it before, unfortunately. She's the hot hand, bro. Like she has the people eating out the palm of her hand. We saw it at the Elimination Chamber. People are so over for her. The whole Tiffy time chants are outpouring in the arenas, and it is well deserved, man. From the beginning of time, the first segment where they had the little, you know, Hollywood Valley Girl promo, and then when she initially came, I saw the potential, and I'm so glad that it has come into fruition. I think they had a solid match. I think both women are incredible workers, and it was a solid bout. I do feel upset that their like entrances got cut out because the whole Bloodline segment took
Yeah,
500
no.
minutes, but regardless of that, Tiffany's counting up these W's and W's, and I think this is going to be the summer of Tiff. I think we are streamlining her to having a match at WrestleMania versus whoever it may be. I'm really hoping it's versus Bianca Belair because that is a fantasy match that I would love to see off of just two pure, strong athletes. And I'm telling you, man, my prediction is going to be Tiffany Stratton is going to win Money in the Bank this summer, and she is going to cash out on Bayley once Bayley becomes champion. And Tiffany will be our champion, our rightful champion. Us as wrestling fans need this. We haven't had a more deserving women's champ in WWE since I don't know Santina Morella. Maybe hey,
What?
we need this,
What?
man. We need this, bro. We need Tiffy time back in here. Um, all jokes aside, it was a solid bout. I think she's really doing a thing on SmackDown, man. Like I don't know. Am I gassing it up too much as a mark?
You're a Mark. You're a Tiffany Stratton Mark.
I'm a mark, but I mean, come on, man. I just got Australian citizenship just because of the Elimination Chamber last week, bro. Like I might be moving out there soon, man. I might be hanging out with the koalas and the kangaroos, man. I won't try to box a kangaroo because I want to, live a long life. But we see the vision. Come on, man. You think Okada is gonna get that when he debuts wherever he goes to? No, crickets, crickets,
Wow. You have an
crickets.
agenda against Okada.
Yes,
And I
I'm
love the
coming
pep.
out with a shirt, and it's not going to be funded by Wrestling Republic because I'm the only person that, for some reason, agrees to this take. We are going to get a Tiffany Stratton over Okada with with the symbol, and it's gonna. I'm business is booming, man. We out here, bro. Clark knows what's up.
Tiffy time, baby.
Yeah, man. And
Tiffy
then once
time.
Tatum Paxton gets to the main roster, then we gonna have that main eventing. Yeah, we want a main event match. That's a main event match at WrestleMania. Tatum Paxton versus Tiffany Stratton next year. Book it.
Well, Coach 23
There we
saying
go.
kangaroos are overrated, and so is Okada.
Kangaroos are scary, man.
Yeah, she's the center
They
of the
are.
universe. And yeah,
They
I,
kick.
I think Tiffany and Bayley is a great feud. Like, jokes aside, I think that is a really good feud for Bayley once she becomes champion.
Oh, we've also got Bobby saying she's the center of the universe. No doubt about that. I mean, Cameron, I'm going to bring you back in for a second because we're both part of something which I want to shout out. And that thing, right, is next level. Because, of course, guys, we know how many links there are in different places in this day and age. It's all very, very complicated. And I mean, let's say if you wanted to find, all our links at Wrestling Republic, all of Cameron's links at Wrestling Takes, it can be quite confusing. Well, not anymore, because Next Level, our good friends over at Next Level, have a solution for you, and all our content's in one place with one link. It's really easy to do. It's called the Connect Link, and to see Wrestling Republic, you can go onto nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content linked in one place. Super easy to do. Exclusive content on there too. And Cameron, I've been hearing whispers in the wind about an announcement coming soon. A mystery announcement.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't say too much, but on Monday, 5 p.m. UK time, look out. There's something huge coming. Now, there's obviously some event happening in April. That's all I'm going to say. But it's going to be massive, and I think Next Level is going to go to the moon. That's all I'm going to say. I can't give away too many details.
Absolutely. Some people might just say the announcement is extra large, XL. But on that note, let's now move on, and let's move on to talk about the street fight which happened. Carlito versus Santos Escobar. I mean, you kind of know what to expect with these WWE street fights in comparison to, for example, an AEW street fight. And that is, they're going to be a lot less brutal, but it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of spots and probably a lot of interruptions. That's what this is. Rey Mysterio's back. How are you feeling about it, Clark?
I enjoyed the match. I mean, Carlito with the finish through the table was fun. Although I would have liked to see a backstabber finish. That's just always been a cool finisher to me. And Carlito was the guy that really brought it to the forefront when it comes to pro wrestling. Is the open of the match was my favorite part of this match. It was Don Fry versus Takayama slugfest. I loved that. I'd like to see a little more brutality. If you're going to call it a street fight, call it a falls count anywhere. That's no disqualification anyway too. If you're going to do that, if you're going to call it a street fight, I'd like to see a little bit more brutality. But overall, I dig it. I'm kind of done with the storyline though, personally.
Wow.
We've got the LWO and then we've got Legado, and it's like the battle for it. It's too long, too many shifts and yeah, Mysterio's back. I'm excited about that. I don't know what the deal is for Mania, but I'd kind of like to see everybody not necessarily go their separate ways, but be pushed into different rivalries. To me, this is one that headed towards Mania. I'm not over the moon about the LWO Legado rivalry. It's just it feels a little bit telegraphed. It's been too long. It's been too long.
There was a real injury, a legitimate injury.
Yes, there was.
And that, I feel like, has,
which is fair,
added to it a little bit. I also want to get your thoughts on Rey Mysterio's mask.
It's cool.
I loved it.
People are hating it.
I loved it.
I thought it was cool. I did not hate it. I thought it was cool. And Mysterio changes gear every week. It's not like he's going to wear it twice. It's for 1 week. It was cool. I didn't mind it in the least.
Rey Mysterio got the best ring gear of all time out of any wrestler.
He does.
That man was dripped out like every single time, man.
Coach,
it is a great Muta mask.
It is just a Muta mask.
It's a Muta shout out.
Designer. Yeah, I mean,
which I have no problem with.
Nor do I, but it just doesn't look like it feels like ever since he's returned to WWE, he hasn't worn a traditional Rey Mysterio mask.
I'll say this. I feel like if you're going to bring that mask, it should be, I guess in theory, it is a special moment because he made a return. But that's like a mask you have like the entire outfit for on like a big time like match, like a Mania, for instance. Like it shows that mask has like a lot more like emphasis to it and whatnot. That would be my only thing too. I would agree to your point on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not one of those old, you know what I mean, Clark, where you used to have, it was the same. It didn't have any like hair on the top or anything. It was just the same mask, and he used to change the colors up. Sometimes there'd be a pattern. Then at a pay-per-view, he'd maybe have like a special one, like a Joker one or something.
Well, and then it was
He's
weird because he had
returned.
the ones with no back for a while. He went through that kind of that
Yeah.
phase. But yeah, the hair on top has been a trend of late. I think at some point that's kind of part of the deal with Ray is changing up the gear. That's what to me, it seems like that's what he wants to do. Like he enjoys it, right? With all the you look at the shout outs to the comics and all the stuff he's done in that regard.
The Wolverine one at
Wolverine
All In,
was super
that one
cool.
was so
yeah,
sweet.
like so cool. And then yeah, I don't have an issue with it. Honestly, I think it's goofier seeing him in the like singlet with the pants. That part of the gear change than any of the masks, if that makes sense. Like just not used to seeing Ray like that. That's thrown me longer, which now I understand he's getting older, body changes and whatnot. It's probably more comfortable to wrestle in, but that throws me harder than I would say the mask.
I mean, fair enough. That is, that is a decent point. I mean, Coach 23 has got a fun fact that Rey Mysterio's wife, Angie, was mad at Ray at one point as he bought 20 Louis Vuitton bags. Only to tear them up and make a mask. I didn't know that.
That is a great fact.
That is brilliant. It really is.
By the way, that had to be an uncomfortable mask, though. You think about it, it's probably leather. Like that is, you'd be sweating in that thing.
I gotta see what that mask looks like.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer at SummerSlam was wild. I was gonna bring up the Silver Surfer one, Coach 23. That's hilarious.
That was
that was not it at all.
No, it really was not. Bobby Petito saying what? Bobby Petito can't believe it either. I mean, I want to see this mask now. If you find it, Shad, you need to send this to me because
I found it.
Is it cool?
I mean, it looks like a Louis V mask, King Honda. I think this
Louis
is
Vuitton a bag mask Rey Mysterio. I'll get it up on screen. Let's see if we can get it up on screen. Here we are. Wow. Okay, let me present my screen about this. Let's try and see if this works for the what's it called? Visual watchers or whatever. Here it is now. So this is what it looks like apparently.
Oh, that's clean.
That is. I like that. It also doesn't look like he actually used Louis Vuitton bags. It feels like somebody made that.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I don't know. That one, I might be calling a bit cap, to be honest with you, on that claim. But I mean, Cameron, I want to get you back in because I want to talk to you about the main event on last night's SmackDown. Austin Theory. This time last year, he was in the main event, not the main event of WrestleMania. He was in a main, title match at WrestleMania against John Cena, the United States Championship bout. John Cena, one of the biggest legends of all time, and he won. Fast forward 12 months, and he's getting not just beat, but I guess pretty much squashed by Randy Orton on SmackDown. It was a fun match, but I mean, where can we go for Austin Theory at this point? What do you think, Cameron?
Yeah, to me, Austin Theory just seems a bit lost. And I'm not putting it down to him, just the way he's being booked in general. Just this last 6 months, especially since he lost the belt, just has not been great. In my opinion, the most obvious solution to the problem would be to just turn him face. Because I have heard that he's a nice guy in real life and does some Make-A-Wish things. So it might be quite natural for him to play like the good guy. But I think they are starting to hint at that anyway. Obviously, at Elimination Chamber, when Grayson Waller just let him get attacked by Cody and Seth and didn't come to his aid. So that could maybe lead to a future rivalry where Theory's the face and Grayson's the heel. That would be quite interesting, I think.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they can actually get people to cheer for him, though, because I mean, maybe they could do a John Cena or Roman Reigns thing where everybody boos him, but they try and buck him like a face and just throw him in the deep, hope it works. But they kind of tried that already. Like, we've talked about this on the show before. It's one of wrestling's biggest problems. What can you do with Austin Theory? But as for Randy Orton, I mean, where do you see him going, in terms of WrestleMania? Do you think it'll be a one-on-one match against Logan Paul or maybe a triple threat, including Kevin Owens?
Well, one thing I'm going to say, just to start off with, I thought Randy Orton's injury at the Elimination Chamber was real. I thought he's going to be injured again with his back at the end, but luckily he seemed fine last night. So pleased for Randy. But yeah, in my opinion, it'll be a one-on-one versus Logan Paul for the United States title. But like you did say, how is Kevin Owens going to get involved? It could obviously be a triple threat match, but yeah, it is probably going to be Randy and Paul involved in that somehow.
Maybe a special guest referee stipulation. I mean, I could see Kevin Owens doing that. That is something, I guess, right up his alley in terms of, this storyline. But it is an issue in terms of where they go. I just feel bad for Austin Theory.
Give us Jake and Logan versus Randy and Kevin Owens.
Please, no. Please. Absolutely not.
Special guest referee KSI.
No. Actually, let's get KSI and let's get the Sidemen in. Let's have a Sidemen charity wrestling match. Let's do that, eh? Coach 23 saying Theory versus Grayson sounds fair. David Marge is saying Theory is making everyone he works with look good, so he'll be all right. That's a good point, and that is a true point as well. Bobby Petito suggesting that, hey, what if they break up Grayson Waller and Austin Theory and they wrestle each other in a singles match? Definitely could be the direction. And Bobby Petito wants to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn team up again. But they'll have to forget about the brand split. But then again, they are quite good historically at doing that. So who knows? Maybe that will be the route that they go down. But I now want to talk about what wasn't the main event of the show, but what I thought should have been the main event of the show. And that was Damage Control. Because for the Women's Tag Team Championship, we had Bayley teaming up with Dakota Kai to take on the Kabuki Warriors. And this was, let's be real about it, it was quite obvious. I don't think many people actually thought Dakota Kai was, really friends with Bayley still. But even so, I felt like they just rushed through this so fast. I mean, they did the turn in the match. I thought it was effective. They beat her up for a little bit. They then hit the theme and they went to commercial and they didn't mention it again on the show. It felt AEW rushed. I've had a go at AEW for this, so I'll have a go at WWE for doing the same thing. You got to let these big moments, breathe. You got to give them time to breathe. You got to, leave fans a little bit of time to be shocked, to tweet about it, to post about it on social media. And an ad break, I just don't think is long enough. But Cameron, I'll start with you on this one. What did you think about this, Dakota Kai turn?
Well, I think the main reason why you're saying it was rushed was because the Rock segment was so long and probably went over time as usual. But he's the Rock. What are you going to say? Come on, hurry up, Rock. You're not going to say that to him, are you? But yeah, a very good segment again. The way that Dakota just jumped off the ring was just so smooth, and then Bayley obviously trying to attack her, and then the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky getting involved. But yeah, I thought the segment went pretty well on the whole, but I do agree with you in it being a little bit rushed. But to me, that's just obvious why, because of the Rock and Roman Reigns segment going way over time.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would make sense. But I feel like if you put it in the main event slot, you could have, had the show close with it. And then that would have given it, a whole few days to breathe, a whole week in terms of SmackDown. But it did its job, and you're right. Dakota Kai was amazing in it. Yeah. No surprises there whatsoever. Clark, I know you've said this entire time. You've been like, no damage, she was being controlled with Damage Control. But are you now buying into this storyline, or is it once again flopped for you?
Bayley's just got to go over at Mania and then put the whole thing behind us. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't even matter anymore to me.
Don't like it still.
Bayley needs to go over, and that's it. I mean, I don't even know why we did this in the first place. We just wasted 2 years of Bayley. And I get that Io Sky's the champion and everything. That's great. And now we've got Asuka operating underneath Io Sky's leadership, who was a main event talent, now pushed to the mid card. I don't know who it's benefited. Dakota Kai, it's hardly benefited at all, other than that she was put in a great spot last night. But guess what? She's not in one of the big matches main event wise at Mania, because she's not going to defend the tag team titles, because she's not in the Kabuki Warriors, and she's not in the main event title match for the title over on SmackDown either. So yeah, she had her moment on last night's SmackDown, but I don't know what it's done for Dakota Kai. I don't know what it's done for anyone other than Io Sky, which is great. I'm a big Io Sky fan, but yeah, let's put this all behind us and have Bayley go over at Mania, and then we're good. That's about it.
Are you saying it's done nothing for them? Asuka is a women's tag team champion,
which is awesome, and she was in a title match at last year's Mania only 1 year ago.
Well, she'll be in a title match in this one too.
Yeah, tag team title match.
You're meant to be the AW fan. You're meant to be like tag team titles are as important.
I love
as
tag
world
team titles that there's no division.
That's a good point. And I'll give you that one.
Don't have a tag team division.
Whoa. There is a marquee tag team match for the women's title on Tuesday that you guys should watch, and then watch the NXT review show, because the GOAT, Tatum Paxley, the best NXT women's wrestler right now, wrestles in the greatest friend ever. My bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
No, that was, you got to throw those twos up, because NXT knows how to book women's tag team, wrestling. And to be honest, Clark, right, jokes aside, you do bring up a good point. Not about damage control, but about, the women's tag team division, where it kind of feels like WWE just don't care about this. And it's kind of felt like they've never cared about it. And because of that, the belts don't feel as important as they should do. And I mean, you review NXT every week. NXT had it perfect. I mean, how would you solve it?
Build a tag team division. Have non-title matches that matter. Have tag teams that seem like threats to the champions. Simple, real simple. There, it's not that hard. You just have to give them time. I guess is the best answer you can give there. I mean, just it's not that the talent's there on the roster to build tag teams. I mean, you look at the Iconics carried the division for a long time.
Yeah.
Where are they? Obviously not here right now, but potentially down the road. And just, I mean, actual team. One thing that's nice is the Kabuki Warriors do feel like a real tag team. That's true. That's helpful. But yeah, I would start with building. Yeah. Bobby Petito added Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Yes. But they also need people to wrestle that aren't just the champions. You can't have just two tag teams and call it a division.
And they've got what they called as well. You've got the former champions, Kaden Carter and
Katana Chance.
That's the one.
There you go. So you have three.
I still think they need to go ahead and just let JC and Gigi become Toxic Attraction again, because they were a money tag team, and breaking them up. I know that I've argued with this guy and I've argued with Drizzy that I think JC Jane has been in the stupid storyline.
Wow.
I still consider it. I don't think she's benefited anything off of the Chase U stuff. And Gigi Dolan has not benefited off of anything at all. She's been a lost cause. So having them, breaking up had done nothing for them. And I thought they were a really good tag team. Like the presentation, the entrance, both superstars look like money and they wrestle well too. I know the Mandy obviously got let go of, but I think they could have been good as a tag. I didn't see a reason to have them try to be solo stars.
That's a good point.
And there's a lot
of
women down
nothing
there
of
too,
note,
man.
haven't they? You've just had JC Jane doing these Chase U segments, which I've actually really enjoyed. But you're right, it's not a step up from what she was doing, and I don't even know what Gigi Dolan's been doing.
She lost to Jada Parker on Tuesday. That's the first time I've seen her wrestle in a while. I mean, you got Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They look like money as a tag team as well,
Yeah, I mean,
they got some teams.
But the thing is, every time NXT have these teams, they bring them up, and then to Clark, what you were saying, to your point, they bring them up to the main roster, and they just forget about them, and they just split them up. Or they either split them up, or they just do nothing with them. They don't tell a story. Or they walk out with the tag team titles.
And one walk again.
I mean, maybe that's why Naomi lost. Maybe it was karma.
Yeah. Well, no, she wrestled against the best wrestler on the roster, and that's what happens when you wrestle the best people on the roster. You lose, so it's okay. She could be someone else. And I love Naomi. I'm not. I love to her, but she going against the GOAT, man.
Absolutely,
no doubt about it. But Shad, I want to get your thoughts on on this damage control segment, on the segment itself. Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was too rushed? Are you happy with the direction of the feud, or has damage still not been controlled, like Clark was saying?
So, loaded question. So, your first point, segment itself, I like the segment and I like the story within the segment. I do agree it was hyper rushed into Cam's point. A lot of stuff got rushed because the first segment took 578 minutes. It's getting longer the more I think about it. But so and that is not fair to the point. But it was telegraphed. But we got to give Dakota Kai her flowers, man. She is one of the best women's heel like characters in wrestling for these last few years. Like
No doubt.
from what she did to Tegan to what she did to Raquel to what she did to Bayley. She is the snake. She's the mole. She is the devious friend, and I love that about her. That's what makes me a big Dakota Kai fan. She has been the mastermind of damage control this entire time, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's the first. Sorry, don't close your ears on this, Clark. She might be the first opponent for Bayley once she wins the title,
There
and
you
that
go.
would be a great opponent for it because I think she's the one that's controlling all the women in the faction. She's the one that got in EO's ear. She's the one
Mm.
that streamlined and picked up the Kabuki Warriors. I think there's a compelling story that we can add on to that. And I do agree to your point. I think in the beginning, where it was just Io, Dakota, and Bayley taking L's, not a lot of benefit in regards to what they were doing on screen. I think after Io won Money in the Bank and all of this has kind of happened within the next last year, I think this has been the most entertaining aspect of all of these women in this entire storyline. I do think there's a benefit of having damage control for Io and Dakota just because it got new fans and new eyes onto them coming onto the main roster. A lot of people weren't, as hip to them as what they did previously in WWE or what they did on NXT. So you create more of a fan base on that aspect. I think Io Sky is a bona fide superstar. I do unfortunately agree with you on that, bro. I think Io Sky was the best women's wrestler from 2020 to on up, like from what she was doing on NXT.
I'd say from 2015 to then.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
was killing
exactly.
it in Stardom.
Killing it in
Killing it.
Stardom. Then when she got to NXT, I mean, her and Mercedes, Sasha Banks at a Great American Bash Classic match, her in a triple threat match. Like she has so many banger matches and moments. Everything is gonna lead to Bayley getting her moment at Mania, and that's what does matter. But I do see a light for the other women after. I think Io should stay within that main stage, main event picture after that, and I think Dakota
Mm.
should get built up to that too. I think Dakota is right up there with Io being a borderline main event person. Like I have a lot of maybe I might be higher on her than a lot of other people are, but I really think she does tremendous heel work. I think she's a very good character, and I think she's a great wrestler as well. So I'm excited for it all. I just like seeing compelling women's storylines. I'm a big women's wrestling fan. I want to see the ladies do big time stuff, and I think a lot of people say Becky and Rhea should be night one main event, and maybe off a namesake of who they are, that could be true. But if we're talking about storyline and we want to talk about a storyline for a women's match that should be a main event, I think they should be more of the main event than Rhea and Becky. I think
Wow.
Bayley
Is she a
winning
draw, though? Is Io Sky enough of a draw to main event?
I think she could be enough of a draw. I mean, you saw how over she was at Backlash when she wrestled Bianca. Like
Yeah, that
I
was
think
hardcore, though. Hardcore fan base over in Puerto Rico.
well, Bailey's the draw. She won the Rumble. She is one of the horsewomen. Like she deserves that more than anything off of that as well. Like I know the thing is this Becky and Rhea is probably gonna be the one that people say for, but this joint just got built like last month when Becky starts staring down and talking at the press conference and ultimately winning at the Elimination Chamber. Like this has been
Yeah,
a
true.
storyline that's been going on for 2 years. So I think if we're talking about like a compelling like story that builds to a main event, that's what it should be. And I I vouch for Io, man. I think that woman is. I think the most for that woman. I think she could be compelling enough. What it is. And I'm not saying they should main event over that tag team match. I'm just saying if I was to put, I think that's the more main event worthy match out of the two women's matches.
Wow. A burning hot take there. I do agree, though. It definitely is the match with maybe even arguably the most story other than the main event on night 2 heading into WrestleMania. Bobby Vito saying shout out to Braun Breaker as well for his performance last night. And Code 23 suggesting, could the Hugger come back?
No,
that
please
would
no.
certainly be. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Although I
think
love
it'll
her
be a
theme
mix
song.
of both. But
We don't need
That was
any
my
more
jam.
tube, man. No more of the inflating arm
Or
inflatable
waving.
tube men, yeah, waving.
Yeah, it's like a
can't have
car sale place. It's like a car sale place.
It is.
But on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're on Spotify, please leave us a cheeky 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, support there as well. Twitter, same. Instagram, same. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Cameron. You can follow him at, so what is at wrestling? Is it an underscore in there?
Yeah, it was wrestling_takes_.
Nice. On TikTok, Instagram, all those platforms. Give him a follow for sure. And also shout out to Shad as well. The Tuesday Night Delight. Throw up those twos. We'll see you guys tomorrow for talking about Collision. See you guys. Peace.